It's the podcast.
Fucking hell. Yeah.
I'm officially recording the thing.
The thing.
Yeah, the thing. So, podcast. You can introduce
gone through
yourself.
2 different accents there within the first 5 seconds.
Have I?
Yeah,
Did I copy Matt Lee's at least once?
I think you did.
That's all right then, isn't it? That's fine.
As long as he doesn't see you.
Why would he sue me?
I don't know.
Anyway, introduce yourself.
I'm Josh.
Josh, what? Come on, give us your name. Your full name.
It's my name, Josh. It's what you're going to get. You don't need any more than that. No one's going to care.
Feels so forced. Right.
That's because you wanted me to do things that are unnatural, Charlie. Like introduce myself by my full name, which nobody does.
Okay, all right. You're Joshua Lee.
I am.
And I'm Charles Mackinson. There we go. Now I've introduced both of us. It's not unnatural.
It felt pretty unnatural to me.
Did it feel forced?
A little bit.
Shit, man.
Oh well.
I'm sorry.
Oh well. It's fine. Let's move on. Let's keep it going. Keep the flow, man. Keep the flow.
The flow. Okay, so do you want to talk about how crushingly awful AC Unity has turned out to be?
I will talk about how crushingly awful it is, bearing in mind, and I'm going to put this disclaimer up right now, I've not actually played it.
When you,
I feel like I've got to be honest by saying I've not actually played it yet.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to be like, oh, it's terrible, it's so buggy. Yeah, it's terrible. Oh, how far in the game did you get? I've not played it.
Well, I can speak from someone who's played it for 4
You've played
hours.
it, and I've seen enough footage of it.
Yeah, that we can have a fairly in-depth discussion.
Yeah,
talking about it without being completely, wrong.
Well, there are already glitch compilation videos on YouTube. When was the game released?
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Wait, hang on. In the UK, 14th.
The 14th.
Yeah, so today came out today, and I got it quite early this morning. I've played about
3 hours or so, wasn't it?
No, I've played about 4 hours now. I mean, I can talk about the story. Glitches I can't talk about because, to be honest with you, it seems like the glitches are pretty much located on the console versions of the game.
That's a whole other can of worms that we'll get into in a bit.
That's not a can of worms, mate. That's a can of fucking aggressive eels, slippery eels, electric eels. But no, on PC it's smooth, it's lovely. I've got it maxed out, and it's very nice. It does look gorgeous. I cannot.
Oh yeah, that's something I
Yeah,
it looks great. It looks beautiful.
But the narrative is, oh my god, it's awful. It's so bad. It opens up and it's like, look at this generic French kid, and no, I don't want to give spoilers, but it's just, it's so generic. It's awfully generic.
Yeah, I know that you end up in the Bastille.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Bastille, Charlie.
The Bastille. When you say the Bastille, do you mean the?
I mean the famous prison. Prison. The famous prison.
You're channeling Sean Connery right now.
Yes. The famous prison in Paris.
Okay, so you go to the prison, and I mean, it looks all right visually. It's quite nice. Then, having said that, it does the traditional video game thing of you've not spent that much time on this area, so if you get too close to the walls, the textures look horrible. But the story that takes place in the prison, because it's mostly sort of formed out of cutscenes, like what you do in the prison.
Okay, is there a large time skip?
What in the game?
In the prison. Yes, in the prison.
Yes.
I'm just predicting things now.
Yes,
right.
There is.
Is it set to a lovely 80s pop music montage?
No, I wish it was.
Is there a training montage?
Yes.
There is?
Yeah.
Can someone please take this montage and set it to some cheesy 80s pop music?
It's not like a cut montage. It's like a generic,
you can turn it into one.
They're training, and then and then things happen, and it's like, look at this. They've clearly been here for a while, and they've been training, and now a thing is happening.
Would the thing be the French Revolution?
that would be the thing. The French Revolution happens. Yes.
I guessed by the fact that the game was set in the French Revolution. And I know enough history to know that the Bastille was overrun.
Yeah. Well, I think we should do like a we should do like a montage of the prison sequence, but with you know that song from Les Mis, from Les Miserables.
Yeah.
Do you hear the people sing? That one.
Yeah. Do you hear the people sing? I do know that song.
That exact song. Yeah.
That exact song.
Yeah. So we should.
What are the crowds like? Because the crowds have always been one of those things that Assassin's Creed
Well,
has
I've not actually reached. I've not
prided
reached the
itself on.
assassin bit yet. I'm not.
You've not reached the assassin bit.
It's still right. Okay, the main character is basically.
Can we put some sort of minor story spoiler disclaimer here?
Yeah.
We're talking first few hours of the game, nothing that you'll probably actually be terribly bothered by knowing.
Yeah. Okay. Spoiler disclaimer. Ding. After that ding, spoilers.
Insert a klaxon.
Okay, I'll put the klaxon here. Spoilers. Yeah. What did you want to know? The crowds. I mean, because I have been in crowds.
The story, you said you weren't an assassin yet.
No, I'm not an assassin yet. It's doing the whole. You've played ACT, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in Assassin's Creed 2, Ezio, you spend a good 4 or 5 hours as Ezio before he's an assassin.
Yes.
It's the same as that. So and also the French bloke is basically Ezio. He's literally Ezio but French.
I've heard that everyone has a lovely regional British accent. Is this true?
It is very true. No one sounds French, but every now and then they say French things in a British accent.
This is a very strange thing because in all the other games they have actually given them sort of slight. But
in Assassin's Creed 2, you could turn it on to Italian. You could have it you could play it in Italian with subtitles. That's what I did.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
And even in the the English dub of it, they spoke with Italian accents.
And occasionally, even in the English dub, it would slip into Italian, wouldn't it? But no, in this one, it's literally the main bloke sounds sort of very
down with the aristocracy.
No, not that kind of British.
You've not been in a crowd yet, though, have you? You don't know.
I have been in crowds, but not
rebellious partisan crowds.
Yeah, I've not hidden in crowds yet. I've been to parties and things. And
oh, okay. Are you a member of the aristocracy?
No. No.
I wouldn't be walking the streets if you were.
Look, we've completely gone off track here, to be honest. We're talking about the disappointment. And you're asking me if I'm a member of the aristocracy.
Do you want to rein that horse back in?
I'm going to rein that horse right back.
Okay.
Right back. Straight back in.
So, the disappointment.
The crushing disappointment.
Right,
okay. How hyped were you for Assassin's Creed Unity?
I've got to give some context to the hype for Assassin's Creed Unity, because Assassin's Creed Unity was the next-gen Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
It's back to that whole next-gen, which happened when the consoles first came out, and everyone was like, next-gen, and then nothing good happened. I mean, they released Rise, and it looked quite nice. Actually, it looked very nice, but that was it. It just looked nice.
Yeah, it was.
And there was nothing else that was... we're not even going to talk about Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs can just...
We'll pretend that never happened.
Not happen. What was Watch Dogs, though? Watch Dogs was like, look at this amazing game. Lol, JK. No.
we lied to you.
They did lie to us. And then they took it out of the PC version, but left it in the files, because... Fuck knows why they did that. Anyway, that was a Ubisoft game as well, wasn't it, Watch Dogs?
Was it?
I think so. I think it was a Ubisoft game.
They're entering dangerously EA territory, aren't they? With their sort of...
I don't know. I mean, to be fair, they're not complete arseholes. They did put microtransactions in Unity.
This is what I was about to say. There's microtransactions in the game. This is a AAA title.
It costs like £60.
Yeah. Which, first of all, is too much.
But that's not their fault, necessarily.
Yeah, still too much.
Yeah.
And then they're going to expect you to pay for microtransactions. I mean, what can you get with these microtransactions? Is it a pretty hat?
I don't know. They've not turned up in my game yet.
Oh, some endgame stuff, perhaps.
Maybe. Endgame microtransactions. Assassin's Creed Unity is actually an MMO. But no. Yeah. I was hyped for AC Unity, though. I was really hyped. Yeah. Because just the screenshots. I was like, oh...
Yeah. They basically flaunted the graphics and the co-op as well. They're like, look, you can do co-op.
Yeah, but then the co-op from the reviews I've read is not too great. I don't have anyone to play it with at the moment, but like, it's not good. Apparently, it's not what they were expecting it to be.
Yeah.
You know? And the main criticism of the game, from what I can gather, is just that it's a bit boring, which is terrifying. Because I've never played an Assassin's Creed game before where I've been like, I'm not having... I have a blast.
If you ignore the modern-day story, if you ignore the sort of...
That didn't happen. That did not happen.
I mean, it was ambitious, and it had such good potential to be interesting, but they just didn't take it in the right direction.
I think in Assassin's Creed 2...
The natural precursor race.
Didn't they do that with Halo? That's what that was the plot of Halo.
The actual localized historical stories within... Desmond's memories were actually quite good.
Yeah.
As far as, I mean, are you still one of Desmond's ancestors? Do you know this?
I don't know.
Subject, whatever he was.
I don't.
14. I can't remember.
I have literally no idea if I am Desmond's. I don't know, because like the modern day stuff is so cut back in AC so far. Like there's been one cutscene where they've been like
faded out.
Yeah, but then, like, I don't know. I mean, I would honestly be quite happy if they said, look, we're going to try and do the modern day thing again, but this time we're not going to fuck up.
Well, the thing is, Black Flag did the thing where, like, right, actually, you work for a games developer using the same technology. I was like, that's quite cool. That's clever, that. Yeah. And they changed the thing at the front to be Abstergo Gaming or whatever it was, and they rebranded the actual within the game to make it all look like it was actually done by them. I was like, that's quite a nifty little idea. I can get on with that. They didn't really do anything with the main story. They started to like tease that there could be something going on. You got to hack things via a mysterious hacker, and there was, all the characters from the old game that were still alive. I
think
all showed up at one point.
Oh, okay.
And then, from what I've heard, and what you just said about Unity, it's kind of it's gone.
It is there. Like, the game opens with it being like, this is the Helix powered by Animus. And I was like, okay. It was like, made by Abstergo. I was like, okay. And then it kind of went into the game, and then it was like, choose what era to play. And it had like all of the Assassin's Creed games on the screen. And I was like, okay. But they were all locked except for the French one. And you go back and you play as a Templar for a bit. And then he dies, and it's like, oh, okay. And then it kind of goes into the French bit, and then it's like but in between that, there's like about a 30-second like cutscene where it's like, hello, we need your help to help us, and if you can help us, then it'll be amazing. And you're like, okay, all right, well, go on then, and then nothing happens, and it's like, we'll talk to you again soon. And it's been about 4 hours since that, and they've not spoken to me.
So should we talk glitches?
Oh, because some of them are glorious already.
This is the big elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin with them. They're just so
the face is not loading.
Aggressive. Yeah, that is something that doesn't even require much playtesting. Surely just running cutscenes and checking that they work.
Yeah. That's the other thing that I'm confused about, because, we were talking earlier today, and I said to you, I can't believe that a dev of this size, especially considering I had a good look through the Wikipedia. I mean, I know it's not necessarily the best source, but these days it's pretty reliable.
Yes, job done.
Yeah, they had assistants, and like they got like work done from like a load of different Ubisoft developers across the world. Like they had
they always do.
Developers from China,
they have Montreal, and then they have the ones in they always collate together. I always remember because I have to sit through the longest credits in any video game at the end of any Assassin's Creed game.
It's true, but like in this one, they really did have a lot of assistants. Hang on, we go. Let me go to. I'm just going it up. Here we go. Right. So it's the main developer is Montreal, with contributing work from the Ubisoft studios in Toronto, Kiev, Singapore, Shanghai, Annecy, Montpellier, Bucharest, Quebec, and Chengdu. That is a lot of different devs to be working on one game. And to put that amount of work in and then either not playtest it properly, or I mean, what? Like, how does that slip through? Like the fact that textures aren't loading. There's just random shit of people just running in the air, and like,
have you seen? No, well, I'm gonna have to put out my favourite glitch that I saw. If you can find the video somewhere, it's a guy looting some bodies, and he's looting the bodies, and all of a sudden, just in a sort of sitting position, but hovering, a peasant glides by, and he's edited the video. So it's like sort of race car drive-by sound with a lovely Doppler effect.
Okay.
The best thing is, he's then followed by a second peasant, and they race off into the distance.
That's amazing.
That's my favourite one so far.
Have we had any... I think we're on sort of a... Because with Black Flag, of course, we had no glitches until the ascension of the jackdaw.
The ascension of the jackdaw. If anyone who happens to be listening has not seen the ascension of the jackdaw, just go and YouTube that. You will appreciate it massively.
Absolutely incredible glitch.
That is the sort of glitch that I would let pass.
Yeah,
because it's so good.
It's not like it was game breaking. I mean, the jackdaw. I can't even begin to fathom how good that glitch is. Anyway, back to Unity. Yeah, just the glitches. But then, of course, going back to the conversation we were having earlier, how did that slip through playtesting? And also, what is going on with these consoles in terms of hardware and in terms of next-gen games, or current-gen as it is?
Massive cases of lag, actual FPS drop.
Yeah, I was watching a comparison
significant ones.
I was watching a comparison video, and the PS4 was running consoles. At like... the PS4 is running at like 20 FPS, and the Xbox One's running at like 25 FPS. This isn't in all situations, of course. Both of them run at a stable 30 FPS in certain areas, etc.
Oh yeah.
But, that's... I mean, I'm not an FPS guy. Like, I'm not one of those people that's going to be like, oh my god, it's not running at 60, 1080. Like, for me, if it looks good and it's playable and it's a good game, then why not? Whatever. But like when you're reaching like 20 FPS and 25 FPS on a game that's just come out, for a console generation that's only just like, what is it, a year now? A year old? And that's not counting the Wii U.
Very young, yeah.
And they're not handling it, or it's poor optimization.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd be tempted to go down the poor optimization route, because we all know how bad the port of AC3 was.
That was awful on PC. That was so bad. Yeah.
But the thing is, these consoles have been out long enough now that I'd have to say they're sort of a known thing. I mean, and there's been issues all the way along the line, hasn't there, with games? We've had the whole 30 FPS versus 60 FPS argument, and 720 versus 1080, which, whatever your opinion on that, these are new gen consoles that should be out from now for at least a good sort of 4 or 5 years.
Well, was it Sony? Hope. Well, I mean, Sony was saying that they were hoping the PS4 was going to last 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I reckon this rate
it's not.
It's going to last 6 months.
They're already struggling. I mean, if you think how long was the PS2 produced for?
They stopped producing it sometime around the end of last year, I think, didn't they?
An absurdly long time. I mean, even the PS3 still stands up today. I mean, it couldn't play some of the AAA titles, but there are still AAA titles that come out on the... I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5, for example.
Yeah,
sure. We're getting a lovely, much nicer version for the PC and the new gen consoles, but it's still holding up, and that's been out for several years. You look at these fancy consoles that everyone's forked out £400 for, and fought to the death on internet forums over which one's better and all this sort of stuff, and they're just not cutting it at the end of the day.
I'm inclined to say that, if anyone's going to swoop in and steal this, it's Valve. I'm going to come out and say that.
Oh, with the Steam box?
Yeah, with the Steam... I mean, that was a big thing at the end of... Was it the end of last year when they announced they were going to do that with the gamepad and all the stuff? And then it's been relatively quiet since then, because they've not...
They released like 1 or 2, I think.
Well, no, they've released...
prototypes, 1 or 2, and they were very underwhelming.
Well, it's outsourced to other like third-party manufacturers, isn't it? They don't actually make the console. But then, of course, I don't think SteamOS is finished, is it? So...
I wouldn't know.
No, it's not. I don't think SteamOS is finished.
Mm.
But yeah, Anyway, moving on from that, yeah, I think Valve are going to swoop in and take the market if they're really clever about this. Because if they come in and go, hello, so basically we've got PCs that are small and powerful and can run all these games that you're having problems with.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the ideal. Now would be the ideal time to do it. But
and the thing is as well, talking about the market, this is actually having an effect. Like, the quality of this game is actually having an effect. Ubisoft shares since the launch of Unity have dropped by 9.12%.
Shit.
And that was true as of 7 p.m. on the 12th of November.
That's
want to go look up facts and prove me wrong. It was true as of then.
Yeah.
And that that's a substantial amount. 9.12%. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. That's the sort of, we're not going to turn a profit on this game, actually, sort of money.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, that's stocks. That doesn't directly relate to sales of the game. But
if you look at money lost.
It does definitely reflect a loss of, trust in the company and, some other things, I suppose. I mean, I can't really talk that kind of business. But...
Well, that was the weird Steam thing as well, wasn't it? Where they took it off Steam for like a day and then put it back on again. Never explained
a couple of
it.
Games, wasn't it? It was with Far Cry 4 and a few other Ubisoft
games.
Unity
was one of them.
Yeah, did that have an explanation in the end?
I don't know.
Anyway,
at the time, it was just a mystery.
Yeah.
But it's especially odd that it's having a really hard problem running on the PS4. As in, like, significantly more than the Xbox One.
Yeah, and up until now, it seemed like the PS4 is the more powerful console in terms of hardware, and in terms of...
or at least in terms of architecture.
Optimization as well, actually, yeah. But then, I suppose the architecture of the PS4 would be more closely aligned to PCs. I mean, they're both pretty much just PCs in a box, but, I think the PS4 is slightly more aligned. Who knows? Moving on from that, I suppose we should probably talk about something else. You know what you've got that you could have a good chat about, a good talk.
Yeah.
Katie Hopkins and her
tweets,
her luxurious tweets.
Luxurious tweets. Yes, I was spending a bit of time on Katie Hopkins' Twitter, as it is as entertaining as it is vomit-inducing. Well, there is a lovely bright pink background to just. It's just her icon annoys me because she's sort of laughing, but over her shoulder.
What is it like a kind of like a stage laugh?
Yeah, and it's got an aggressive pink background. It's just like, and then that is just beneath it. In other words, if you can afford to eat yourself obese, you can afford to pay for your own gastric bypass, quick bankrupting RNHS. Wow. Immediately with like RNHS, it's RNHS. How dare you? I'm going to separate you from the rest of us because you're fat. So you can't be with the rest of us.
She's literally
even though you also pay taxes and you also fund our NHS.
She's
equally, while we're at it, if you do a dangerous sport, don't think you can use our A&E if you break a bone. Shouldn't be doing your dangerous sport, should you? If you have a car crash, right? Don't think you can use A&E. You shouldn't be driving a car. You know those things crash sometimes. Don't do it.
She's like the physical embodiment of the worst parts of the Daily Mail.
Sometimes, yeah.
Like
she's
just
great material for medical ethics lectures. I tell you, these are the sort of things that we love. Sit and talk about this for hours.
You should probably explain that you're a medical student.
I'm not a medical student, though.
You kind of medical. You're a biomedical student, and now you're a
I am a student of the life sciences, I guess. Yeah, I'm a pharmacology student.
The life sciences. That sounds like a crappy A-level. Life science.
Life science. No, that's what it's called.
You better explain what you actually do then, Josh.
Well, I study pharmacology, so I am a what you'd call a bioscientist of sorts. So I count myself moderately qualified, more than the lay individual. To talk about medical ethics, yes.
It's such a weird word, lay.
But it's that sort of it's looking down on people who are sort of less privileged than yourself thing, or in a worse position than you are.
Do you want to give some examples of her tweets beyond the initial?
Beyond this one, yeah. Some of my favourites.
Yeah, give a sort of a brief.
We'll carry on the theme of the whole obesity thing. We'll carry on that theme for the moment. You can dip back in later after we've talked about something else, because there is quite a few.
Okay.
The next one, I've heard of hashtag fat acceptance. I declined the invitation. What? Just flat out saying that fat acceptance is wrong. And now, just to qualify this, fat acceptance isn't saying to people it's okay to be fat in every way. Obviously, we still say to people, yes, there are health risks to being obese. You need to worry about that. We need to monitor that and control that. However, you shouldn't think a person worse.
Yeah, or like lesser than you.
or less of a person for being obese, right? Or overweight. In the same way as you shouldn't look at someone who's anorexic and do the same, or it's just...
I think we should send a tweet back and be like, got an invitation for bigot acceptance, and I've decided to decline that. I think it seems more like it's up your street, actually. So here you go. That's for you. That's your bigot invitation. It seems, actually, like you're already there, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, and the final one on the whole fat-shaming thing. Off to meet a woman to talk fat-shaming. Eating yourself fat and playing the victim. That's multitasking right there.
Wow.
It's just, she is trying very hard to be an arsehole.
She is. It's like she's like consciously like, what can I do that will just make me seem like a terrible person today?
Yeah. I mean, accusing people of purposefully making themselves obese and then playing a victim from that. I mean, right, if I, Casey Hopkins, if I now say to you, you're not a nice person, in fact, you're a bit of an arsehole, I don't like you, right? And then you felt victimised by that. That's not playing the victim, that's you feeling victimised because you've been insulted for something, whatever, right? You can't just turn around to people who are being attacked and insulted by people like you because of the way they are, and then accuse them of playing the victim. You can't play a victim if you're already a victim. It's not how it works.
No, a victim isn't necessarily like a state that you choose. I think it's more like you've become a victim due to being victimized.
Generally, yeah. That's
yeah, we have a verb for that.
There's a verb for that. Oh dear.
We shouldn't be laughing. Steve Jobs died for this.
Oh dear. Now you've done it.
Oh no.
Right, move on quick.
All right. How about cameras? Should we talk about some cameras?
Cameras, okay. Pulling me into your corner.
Yeah, that's of the world.
Of the spectrum of moderate expertise / just unnatural interest.
Unnatural interest? Would you say I have an unnatural interest in photography?
I don't know, actually. Sometimes. Sometimes.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Anyone who does a 73-second long exposure on a pier.
I like it. Looked good. I thought it looked good.
It did look quite good, I'll give you that.
Yeah, I'm testing my limits. I'm getting out there, seeing the world, one pier at a time.
All of
removed. All of thoughts. Shh. I'm not gonna.
How they know where you live.
I'm gonna have to scramble that. I'm gonna put a klaxon over that.
Oh, it'll be forever be a mystery now.
Yeah, seeing all of. That's all
right.
I do. Okay.
So, are there any specific cameras you want to talk about?
I'm quite intrigued by the Samsung NX1. That is a bloody lovely camera.
Shh. No more of that.
No more. No, that bit's really shit. That's gone now.
This is no.
Moving on from cameras, Joshua. I think we should talk about Star Wars Episode 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got any opinions on that? Got any nice little tidbits of information from the back of your brain? Or the front?
Not really. No, not really, no, because the thing with the new Star Wars is I've not really followed anything to do with it.
Oh, well.
I mean, obviously, the announcement of the name, was
Force Awakens.
Quite big news. We know the Millennium Falcon's there. Well, no, this is something we know. It broke a man's leg / ankle / Harrison Ford's, and we also know that Benedict Cumberbatch may be in it.
Is it? I didn't know that.
Is it? It may be.
Is it?
But is it the cucumber?
Bendy Dibble Cumble Bob.
Bemba Flibble Cumble Slib may be in the new Star Wars. However, not in a necessarily. He might be like well, he wouldn't be a Jawa. He's too tall, but something, a sort of cameo role. He was on Graham Norton, and they said, "You spotted around the set." He was like, "Yeah, I was visiting. I went on the Millennium Falcon and all this sort of stuff." But he was very quiet when asked whether he appears in the actual film at all. So, keep your eyes open for a very tall stormtrooper with very pronounced cheekbones,
long neck. Simon Pegg was at the party, wasn't he? He was at a party to do with it when they finished filming or something.
Yeah, but Simon Pegg's the kind of guy who'd be at that sort of party anyway.
True. Well, yeah, we all aspire to be Simon Pegg on some level.
Everyone wants to be Simon Pegg. And, if you've ever looked at like Comic-Con and gone, I'd probably quite enjoy that.
Yeah.
Then you've probably wanted to be Simon Pegg at some point in your life.
Yeah, I think I have actually wanted to be Simon Pegg at some point in my life, just because I wish I'd made those films, the Cornetto trilogy. Anyway, moving away from Simon Pegg and whether or not we want to be him, back to Star Wars. Yeah, I'm quite excited that J.J. Abrams
Awakens.
Yeah, I'm quite excited that J.J. Abrams is.
Do you reckon it was awakened by lens flare?
Oh, for God's sake! Is this a Star Trek Into Darkness reference you're making here?
Pretty much, yeah. If you look at his last furore into space.
Yeah, there was that bit in Star Trek 2, the reboot that is, where that big chunk of blue lens flare was just sort of completely obscured
on Spock's face.
Yeah. Just sort of see Zachary Quinto peeping out from behind some sort of glowing blue, aggressive lens flare.
Oh dear, that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Made the film so much better because I did spend a good sort of quarter of the film just going, ooh, lens flare. Ooh, that lens flare.
Yeah.
Oh, lens flare.
Normally, lens flare is one of those things where you think, oh, that looks nice in like a still photo, but in video it can really get in the way. Like it can be like, can you not? And
it was very much in the way all the time. But when I was watching the film, I was too busy being like space and spaceships and
Star Trekking across the universe. Is that what you like? Is that how you feel?
Yeah, pretty much. And it sort of, I didn't really, but it sort of on thinking back to it, I thought, that was actually quite aggressive. And once I rewatched the film with that in mind, I could concentrate on nothing but the lens flares.
I suspect that he won't do that with the new one, though. He's not going to do that with Star Wars. No, he's not going to do that.
He might.
That could be, yeah.
I think whose face do you reckon will be obscured by a lens flare?
Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker,
for definite.
The decrepit man.
Benedict Cumberbatch, because you'll just see his neck, and then just like lens flare across the front of his face.
That's his cameo. Benedict Cumberbatch as lens flare.
Just in the credits. That's all it says. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Wow.
No, I look forward to it. It's. I'm kind of just reserving my opinion on it until it comes out because it's all very good. Everyone being like, "Oh, it's Disney. It's going to be rubbish. They're going to ruin it." But Disney have done some good films. They've done quite a lot of good films, in fact.
Quite a really, really large number of good films.
And I mean, not just your traditional children's animation films. You've got Pirates of the Caribbean, for example. People go, that's a Disney film.
They've got all the Marvel stuff now as well, haven't they? So.
Yeah, well, my opinion on that.
Well, yeah, I know.
Disclaimer, I don't like superheroes. They don't turn me on. Disclaimer end. And, disclaimer, Loki does. Disclaimer end.
Loki does everyone though, even people who don't like. He's not a superhero though, but
Oh, okay, I got away with that one. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait till it comes out. I'm gonna watch it, and I'm just gonna probably enjoy it shamelessly. While I'm in the cinema, and then depending on the opinion of the internet, my opinion will probably be swayed by some sort of vain wanting to be accepted, and who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I cannot wait for the new Hobbit film. I am excited for that. I am very much excited.
The trailer has made it look, yes, very
glorious.
Good.
I mean, the last two were amazing anyway.
And the interesting thing, I think this last film will be the film that confirms that, yes, we did need 3 films to tell this story.
Yeah, I think so, because a lot of people were saying, why couldn't we have just had one film?
Yeah, why not 1 2-hour film? You couldn't. I mean, you could, but
you'd lose so much of. They put so much detail and thought into it. Like, I mean, Peter Jackson is directing these ones as well, isn't he? And just the amount of pure, like, the lavish detail that they put into it. Like the opening section of the second film, Desolation of Smaug, where it kind of pans across that pavement and up into the village.
Yes.
We saw that in 4K in high frame rate, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And that
I believe in 3D as well.
I think
3D?
Yeah, it was 3D. It was 3D. But for me, that completely.
Is that Peter Jackson himself right at the start with his carrot? I didn't actually notice when I watched it the first time.
No,
I was too busy going, "Ooh, well, this is really pretty."
But I was just completely immersed, absolutely 100% immersed. I was like, that's it. I'm there.
Yeah.
I am in. God, where it's Middle Earth. I'm in Middle Earth.
The town of Bree.
But it's just, people complain, and when people go, "Oh, the high frame rate is making people sick," and blah blah blah.
No one was sick in my cinema.
I'm half inclined to say a lot of that was rubbish because people love a good,
People love a good. All iPhone 6s bend. What, 3?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I didn't find it at all disconcerting. Having said that, I do play PC games a lot where the frame rate fluctuates, so I'm used to it. But
the frame rate doesn't fluctuate in the film, does it?
No, but it's a lot higher than it is normally. It's double.
Yeah.
It's double what it is normally. Still,
it makes it look better.
Yeah, it was smooth. It's just smoother. Yeah, smoother. And people who say that they don't see that are lying. They're lying to you.
Either lying or they are optically deficient.
Optically deficient.
That in the nicest of ways.
Yeah. No, I am excited for the new one. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. Any other films that we're seeing? Oh, Interstellar.
Interstellar is something that probably needs to be mentioned. The problem with Interstellar is Interstellar's been out for long enough now that most people have seen it, and neither of us have.
No, we do need to see it. We need to see it because the whole thing with the black hole that they've generated, and just Christopher Nolan as well. I mean, legendary director. But also,
there's a lot of people are questioning the motives of the characters and the motives of society in general in the thing. And
are they? I don't know.
Because we know what we know from having not seen it and only seen the trailers is, Earth's pretty screwed up. It's well on the way anyway. We know this is probably going to happen at some point. We think, right, let's go find somewhere where we can colonize, which is going to have to be beyond our star, interstellar. So, space travel, go find somewhere. And from what I've heard, whilst dodging spoilers, is that sort of where they go or how they go about things when they're there and all this sort of stuff is a bit, in some people's opinion, they don't think it would have been done like that. Yeah. Or they think, there's better ways of doing it. And I even heard someone saying that they focus too much on the human element of the story.
But it's about humans.
Which is what I thought. But equally, I don't really want to comment with that without actually seeing the film.
True.
And knowing to what extent that was done.
So really, the end of our discussion on Interstellar is that we should really see Interstellar so we can talk about it.
So we can actually have an informed discussion about it.
That's the end of the Interstellar talk. And with the end of the Interstellar talk, I think it's time to bring the podcast to a close.
Oh.
Lovely. A lovely little to bring us softly out of the podcast vibe.
Okay.
If anyone did actually listen, thanks. It was really nice of you.
Good luck for getting this far. I mean, we've been talking for like...
Good hour.
An hour or something. I mean, the edited version that you're now listening to, if you're still here, will be significantly shorter, I imagine.
Yeah, we haven't been talking for a good hour.
With all the temporary breaks to pronounce things correctly.
Racism. Joke. There was no racism. No racism. Anyway, goodbye.
They'd never know.
Shut up, Josh.
Do you reckon they trust you? You're just a man on the internet. Goodbye, everybody. 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 Fucking prawns.
Pringles, Josh.
Prawns.
Prawns. Prawns. Prawns. Prawns. Prawns.